If the topics we explored today resonate with you, it might be a sign to seek a supportive space for your own journey. Michael C. Thompson, the licensed professional counselor behind Calm Mind Behavioral Health Counseling, offers convenient and confidential online therapy, allowing you to engage from the comfort of your own home. He specializes in helping individuals navigate complex challenges like depression, men's issues, and addictive behaviors by fostering deep self-awareness and genuine self-compassion. Take the first step and visit calmmind.life to schedule a free, no-obligation 15-minute consultation. Hello, and welcome to the Mindful Insights podcast. I'm Charlie Michaels, and as always, I'm so glad to be joined by my brilliant friend and co-host, Michelle Thomas.
It's great to be here, Charlie. And today we're doing something a little different, which I am so excited about. For the first time, we're dedicating an entire episode to answering questions directly from you, our listeners. The response has been incredible, and the thoughtfulness of these questions is just fantastic.
It really is. It's a privilege to engage with our community this way. And before we dive in, just a gentle reminder that while we explore topics related to emotional well-being, we are not mental health professionals. This conversation is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for therapy or advice from a qualified professional. Please be sure to seek out guidance for your individual needs. So, Michelle, let's get to our very first question.
Let's do it. Our first question comes from Lisa, an LPC in Houston. She starts her email by saying how much she appreciates the show's compassionate approach, which was so kind to hear. She mentions she's in her first year of private practice and is encountering this challenge for the first time. She writes, I have a client whose long-term patterns of relational instability, identity disturbance, and emotional dysregulation strongly suggest a personality disorder. I believe that naming this could be a crucial turning point in our work, but I'm worried about the stigma and how to introduce the topic without making them feel judged or pathologized. What is the most compassionate and effective way to have this conversation?
Lisa, thank you for this question and for your kind words about the show. It shows an incredible amount of care and clinical wisdom because how this information is delivered can make all the difference. The most important thing is that this should never be a sudden pronouncement. It should feel like the natural culmination of a long, collaborative exploration you've already been doing with the client. You aren't giving them a label. You're helping them find a name for the struggle they've described to you week after week.
I love that framing. It's less about diagnosis and more about clarification. It's like you've both been examining a collection of seemingly random, painful experiences. You've looked at the intense fear of abandonment, the feelings of emptiness, the stormy relationships. Now you're essentially saying, there's a map for this territory you've been describing. It's a well-studied phenomenon, and having this map can help us navigate it much more effectively. The diagnosis becomes a tool, a map, not a label.
Exactly. The focus should be on the patterns, not the pathology. You can start by summarizing the themes you've observed together. We've talked a lot about this pattern where relationships start out feeling incredibly intense and wonderful, but then a fear of being left takes over, leading to conflict that ultimately pushes the person away. By grounding the conversation in the client's own lived experience, it feels validating, not accusing.
So you help them see the forest by naming the trees you've already identified together. Then you can introduce the term itself as a form of psychoeducation. Something like this set of experiences, the emotional intensity, the unstable sense of self, the relationship patterns, is what's known in the clinical world as borderline personality disorder. I mention this not as a label to define you, but because it gives us a clear, evidence-based path forward. It tells us that specific therapies like TBT have been designed for this exact struggle and are incredibly effective.
That's the key. You immediately link the diagnosis to hope and a concrete treatment plan. It reframes it from being a life sentence to being a signpost pointing toward the right kind of help. The message is, your pain is real, it's recognizable, it has a name, and because it has a name, we have a proven way to help you heal from it. When delivered with that compassion, collaboration, and a focus on hope, it can be a moment of profound relief for a client.
And it doesn't have to all happen in that one session, right? It's a lot for a person to take in.
Not at all. A great next step is to empower them with information. You can offer them some trusted resources, a fact sheet from a reputable mental health organization, a few well-regarded websites, maybe even an episode of a podcast like this one, and suggest that they take the week to explore them at their own pace.
I love that turned the client into an active participant in their own healing. They come back the next week, not just as a patient, but as an informed collaborator, ready to discuss what resonated with them and how they feel. It makes the whole process less hierarchical and much more empowering.
That's a perfect way to put it. We're going to take a short break now, but when we come back, we have another powerful listener question about navigating these dynamics from the perspective of a loved one. Stay with us. Are you a man feeling exhausted and trapped in an emotionally unstable relationship? Do you constantly question your own reality? The workbook, Reclaiming Your Reality, a man's guide to healing from the exhaustion, emasculation, and entrapment of an emotionally unstable relationship is for you. It provides the tools to understand the chaos, set powerful boundaries, and start rebuilding your life based on your own values. Stop walking on eggshells and start reclaiming your reality. Find the workbook on Amazon or learn more at calmminds.life.
Welcome back to Mindful Insights. Our next question comes from a listener named Mark in Orlando, Florida, and hits one I think many people will relate to. He writes, I'm listening to your episode on BPD, and it feels like you are describing my wife. The intense mood swings, the walking on eggshells, the fear of me leaving even when things are good. It's all there. I love her, but I'm exhausted, and I don't know what to do. What's the first step for someone in my position?
Mark, thank you for your vulnerability. Please hear me when I say your feelings of exhaustion are so valid. Loving someone with traits of BPD can be a confusing and emotionally draining experience. The first thing we need to say, of course, is that we can't diagnose your wife from afar, but we can talk about how to navigate a relationship that has these dynamics. And the most important first step has nothing to do with changing her. It has everything to do with supporting yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup.
That is the absolute foundation. There's a concept that is so crucial for partners and loved ones, often called the 3 C's. You didn't cause it, you can't control it, and you can't cure it. Her emotional reality is the result of a complex mix of biology and life experience. Releasing the burden of feeling responsible for her happiness or her reactions is the first step toward sanity and stability for yourself.
That's right. And once you begin to internalize that, you can start taking concrete action. The first action is to educate yourself. Reading books like Stop Walking on Eggshells or Loving Someone with Borderline Personality Disorder can be life-changing. They give you a framework to understand the baffling behaviors, not as personal attacks, but as symptoms of her immense pain. This knowledge helps you take things less personally. The second action is to get your own support. Whether it's a therapist or a support group, you need a confidential space to process your own grief, anger, and confusion without judgment.
And that support is what gives you the strength for the third and perhaps most critical action, setting boundaries. This is not about ultimatums or threats. It's about calmly and lovingly protecting your own well-being. A boundary isn't, you have to stop yelling at me. A boundary is, I love you and I want to hear what you have to say, but I cannot continue this conversation while I'm being yelled at. I'm going to go to the other room for 10 minutes to cool down, and then we can try again. It's about what you will do, not what you will make her do.
That's a perfect example. It's firm, it's respectful, and it's non-negotiable. For Mark, the path forward starts with turning the focus inward. Get educated, get support, and start practicing compassionate boundaries. That is how you build the stability needed to stay in the relationship in a healthier way or to make whatever decisions you need to make for your own future. Your well-being has to be part of the equation. We're going to take one final break, and then we'll be back to wrap up. Sometimes, the most powerful insights come from compelling stories. If you're looking for a novel that dives deep into the complexities of a troubled mind, I highly recommend Anger's Bitch by Michael C. Thompson. This award-winning book is a raw, unflinching psychological portrait of a man consumed by rage and his desperate search for redemption. It's a story that will stay with you long after you've turned the final page. Anger's Bitch is available in paperback, ebook, and audiobook wherever books are sold.
Charlie,
Both of today's questions from the therapist and the husband really circled the same core idea: the need for compassionate communication and firm boundaries.
Absolutely. Whether you are a clinician or a loved one, the path forward is paved with understanding, empathy, and a deep respect for both the other person's reality and your own. A huge thank you to our listeners for trusting us with these questions.
It really was a privilege, and we've received so many encouraging emails to everyone who wrote in. Even if we couldn't get to your question on this episode, please know that we read and appreciate every single one. We will definitely do this again soon.
Absolutely. And just a little preview for our listeners. In our next episode, we'll be returning to our deep dive into cluster B personality disorders with a look at histrionic personality disorder. You've been listening to the Mindful Insights podcast. If this episode resonated with you, please consider subscribing and maybe share it with someone you think might need to hear it. If you have a question for a future Q&A episode, you can email us at answers.mindfulinsights.life. You never know who you might be helping. Until next time, be kind to your mind.